If you're a freelancer or a creator, you know the struggle. You're trying to focus on work, but your inbox keeps pinging you with the exact same question. Hi, what are your rates? Or, are you available for a collaboration? Now, you can't ignore them. This is potential income on the table. But typing out the same reply 5 times a day is absolutely killing your productivity. So today we're solving this permanently. We're going to build a fully autonomous AI agent using Make. And I'm not talking about a basic autoresponder that sends a canned message. Now, specifically, we're going to teach an AI agent to watch for new collaboration inquiries to my Gmail inbox. It's going to then analyze the offer and draft a perfect reply using specific rates, all without me having to touch my inbox. And to make this work, I want you to think of this build as like creating a digital employee. We need to construct 3 distinct parts to make it function. First, we're going to build the brain. This is the AI agent itself. We're going to give it a personality, feed it specific pricing rates, and then give it the rules on how to negotiate. This is where all the thinking happens. Second, we need to give it some hands. Even a smart AI can't actually do anything if it isn't connected to an app. So we're going to create a tool, which is a separate automation that gives the agent the ability to hit send on an email. We'll then connect these hands to the brain so it can take action. And then third, we'll give it some eyes. This is the final automation workflow. Its job is to watch the inbox 24/7, and when a new email comes in, it acts like the eyes, captures the message, and passes it straight to the brain to process. And the flow is simple. We build the brain to think, give it some hands to act, and then set up the eyes to watch. So on that note, let's get started. So from your Make dashboard, look at the left sidebar and click on the AI Agents tab. This will take you to the Agent Hub. And then from here, go ahead and click either one of the Create Agent buttons. Then the first thing we need to do is give our agent a brain by connecting an LLM. Now, you can see I'm selecting my existing OpenAI connection here, but an important note, if you're doing this for the first time, you'll need to click Add and then select the LLM that you'd like to use for your agent. And you'll see that Make gives you a ton of flexibility here. You can use Anthropic Claude, Google, Gemini, Make's own AI provider, etc. But I'm going to stick with OpenAI for this example. Now, if you're connecting this for the first time, you'll notice that the setup window is actually very helpful. It provides direct links right here at the bottom to take you straight to the OpenAI pages where you can generate your API key and copy your organization ID. It's a pretty streamlined process, but if you do get stuck or you want to see exactly how to generate those keys, I've linked my dedicated tutorial in the description below that walks you through the entire connection process. Next, you'll want to give your agent a clear name. Make suggests a name that clearly reflects your agent's role, so I'm going to call mine Email Virtual Assistant Agent. Then below that, select the AI model that you want to use. You can choose from various versions depending on your budget and speed needs, but I'm going to select the latest model available to ensure the best reasoning capabilities. Next, we arrive at the system prompt, and this is where you program the brain. You need to tell the AI exactly what its job is and describe its core purpose. In this example, I'm typing, your goal is to qualify leads and answer inquiries about collaborations. But I'm not going to stop there. I'm going to give it the knowledge it needs to do the job, and I'm explicitly adding a rate card here in the prompt. The rate is $800 per dedicated YouTube video and $500 for integrated ads. I also added a customized instruction that was cut off in this text box, but it says, please respond to emails in a polite and helpful tone. And then once you have your instructions set, click Save. And then you'll be taken to the main agent dashboard. This is your command center. On the left side, you'll have your configuration panel. This is where you can edit your system prompt, upload documents to provide extra context, and most importantly, you're going to be able to add tools to give the agent some capabilities. Then on the right side, you have the testing and training window. This allows you to chat with your agent in real time to test its responses before you ever connect it to your email. It's a great way to verify that it understands your instructions and tone. Then let's look at our system prompt again. It's a little basic right now, but Make actually has a built-in feature to help us fix this. If you click where it says Improve, there in the bottom corner, this opens a dialog box where you can give specific instructions on how to make it better, or you could just leave it empty and hit the arrow to let Make's AI rewrite it automatically. And I'll let the AI do the heavy lifting here. And look at that. It took my 2 simple sentences and expanded them into a structured set of rules, adding guidelines for tone, follow-up questions, and handling negotiations. This is much better. However, there is one specific rule that I want to add manually to make sure this sounds like me. At the very bottom, I'm going to type always sign emails with the name Ben. If you don't do this, the agent might leave a placeholder like your name in the signature, which looks robotic. This small detail makes a huge difference. Okay, once you're happy with the instructions, click Save. And now that our agent has a brain, it's time to give it some hands so it can actually do the work. And this is where the tools come in. This is where we give the agent the ability to write and send an email. Now, you technically can build these tools directly inside the agent window here, but I prefer to step out and build them in the main scenarios dashboard. It gives us a much bigger canvas and it makes it easier to verify that everything works perfectly before connecting it to our AI agent. So let's navigate to the left sidebar and click on Scenarios. And then click the purple Create Scenario button. And this brings us to the scenario canvas. This is basically where we can build out the scenario and workflow for our agent. And in this case, the scenario that we're going to build is the task our agent is going to perform, which will be to write an email. And this is where the steps may vary depending on the email provider that you use, but I personally use Gmail. So in the field there, I'm going to search for Gmail, and then make lists a handful of actions you could take with Gmail. Again, for this example, our agent will be sending an email, so I'll select that from the list. Next, you'll need to create a connection with your Gmail account. This gives Make access to your Gmail account and will allow the agent to send emails on your behalf. So click the Create a Connection button. From here, it's somewhat similar to connecting to your LLM. You'll want to give your connection a name, and I'm going to name this Sage Wave Sounds Gmail Connection. Then click the Sign In with Google button there in the bottom right corner, and you'll be prompted to go through the Google sign-in flow. Now, if you run into any issues when connecting to Google, here are a few quick troubleshooting tips, and I don't want to get too far into the weeds, but I'll try to make this quick. First, if you're having issues connecting, it may be because you've already connected in the past, but need to reauthorize the connection. If that's the case, head over to the left sidebar and click on the Connections tab, and then find the Gmail connection and click Reauthorize, and then Verify. If you're still unable to connect, or if you're getting a restricted notice, try visiting the online help doc. Make has some great tutorials here that will walk you through the process of connecting to Gmail. Now, another common problem is that you're attempting to use your own Google Cloud Project client credentials to connect. If that's the case, and you see something like this, you'll need to create and configure a project in the Google Cloud Platform. Now, Make has another great step-by-step article that walks you through that entire process, but I also have a step-by-step video that shows you how to do this as well, and I'll link to that in the video description below. But either way, if you're having any issues, feel free to reach out in the comments or reach out to Make's customer support team. We'd be more than happy to help you out. Okay, back at the Gmail module settings, I want you to pay close attention to three specific fields here: to, subject, and body contents. Since our AI agent is going to be writing unique replies to every single client, we can't hard code the text here. Instead, we need to create empty containers for these three specific fields so the AI has a place to put its generated text. So to do that, we need to define and create custom scenario input variables. And to do that, if you look at the toolbar at the bottom of the screen and click the icon that looks like a workflow diagram, this opens the input and output panel. And we're going to add three input items here, one for each of the fields that we just looked at in the Gmail module. So under the scenario input section, click Add Item to start building our input structure. And if you're brand new to all this, I know it may look and sound like a lot, but all we're really worried about here are the name and description fields. And each name and description will be associated with those three fields that I just showed you earlier: the to, or the recipient, the subject, and the body contents. So this first input name and description will be for our recipient, the client. So for the name, I'm going to use client_email. Don't use spaces whenever you're creating the names here. Always use an underscore. And then always add a description as well. And my description is going to be the email address of the client who sent the original inquiry. The AI will actually read this description to ensure it puts the right data in the right place. Next, click Add Item. And this one will be for the email subject line. So the name for this one is going to be email_subject. And then I'm going to describe it as the subject line for the email. Pretty straightforward. Then finally, we're going to add our third item, and this will be for the body of the email. So I'll name it email_body and describe it as the actual message content to send to the client. All right, then once you have the 3 inputs defined, click the Save button. And then just for good measure, let me open the scenario inputs again. And you'll see that we have our new input structure ready for our send email scenario. Okay, next, open the send email module settings again by clicking on it within the canvas. And then under the To section, click where it says Add Recipient. And from here, it will ask for the recipient's email address. So this is where we'll want to add our new client email input variable. So to do that, place your cursor in that field and type a /. This opens up the search feature, and then start typing the name of the input client email. And there it is. So go ahead and click on it to add it. And voila, our custom client email input variable has been added. Now, a quick recap as to why we did this. So this tells our AI agent that when it eventually runs, it shouldn't look for a specific person like Bob or Alice. Instead, it should take the email address whoever just emailed us and dynamically plug it right into this slot to send the reply. But we're not done. We still need to do the same thing for the subject and body content of the email. So next, in the subject line, place your cursor there and click / to search, and then type the name of the subject input variable, which is email_subject, and there it is. Perfect. Then we'll do the body content. So this time, click where it says Add Body Content. Then in the text field, do the same thing. Search for our custom input variable, email_body, and there it is. All right, our input variables for the Gmail module have been mapped correctly, so go ahead and click the Save button. And then we'll also need to save our work within the scenario, so always remember to click Save in the toolbar at the bottom of the screen as well. And then one more thing we have to do in order for our agent to use this tool is we need to set the scheduling to on demand. This allows the send email scenario to only run when the AI agent specifically calls it. So staying in the toolbar, click where it says every 15 minutes, and this will bring up the scheduling settings. Then from the run scenario dropdown, select on demand, and then click the save button. Next, you'll be prompted to activate the scenario, so go ahead and click the activate scenario button. And then it looks like we need to save it again in order to activate it. So go ahead and click the save icon in the toolbar one more time. And now our agent can use this send email scenario as a tool. But we need to add it to the agent. So once again, from the left sidebar, click on the AI Agents tab again. And then find the agent you were working on. And in this case, I only have one. So click the configure button next to the agent that you want to edit, and this will take you back to the email virtual assistant agent hub. And from here, within the tools section, click where it says +add, and you'll be presented with the option to add a module or a scenario. For this example, we're going to select scenario since that's what we just built. And then click the drop down, and we should see the scenario that we just created, and there it is. So select it to apply it as a tool for the agent to use. Below that, you'll need to give the tool a description. Just give a brief overview of what the tool will do. And for this example, I'm going to say, this scenario sends a reply to new client inquiry emails. Then click the Add button. And the tool has been added to the agent. Perfect. Then click the Save button. And now that our agent is saved with the new tool, it should be able to send emails. So one way to find out is to test it here in the chat. So now that we've given our agent a tool, we need to verify that it actually knows how to use it. And we can do this right here in the testing and training window without even leaving the dashboard. And I'm going to type a simple command, send a test email to info@blogwithben.com. And then we'll send that through. And you'll see the agent start thinking. And then in a few moments, we get a green check mark that appears next to our integration Gmail tool. And this confirms the agent understood my request and successfully triggered the scenario that we just built. But let's look closer. If you click the drop-down arrow on the tool execution, you could see the magic happening under the hood. And look at the input section. The AI automatically populated our client email subject, and email body variables with the correct information based on my simple command. It knew exactly which data belonged in which container. And then the final proof, let's check the inbox. And there it is, a subject line of test email, a clear body message, and a look at the signature. It's signed Ben, just like we instructed in the system prompt. That's awesome. Okay, so our digital employee now has a brain and hands. The last step is giving it eyes. So this is where some people may get confused. At least I kind of did whenever I first started using Make, because I felt like there are multiple ways to go about accomplishing this. However, this is the way that worked for me, especially since I was brand new to the process. So essentially what we're going to be doing here is we're going to build a completely new scenario, but this time it'll watch for emails. We'll then attach the AI agent that we just created that has the tool to send emails and then make it part of this automation. So when it's fully connected and done, our agent will be able to watch for new emails about collaborations and then read them and reply to them, all without me having to do anything but run the agent. So the last step in this process is we need to create our watch email scenario. So once again, from the left sidebar, click Scenarios, and then create a new scenario. Then once again, since I'm using Gmail, I'll need to add another Gmail module. But this time, we want the watch for emails. So select that from the list. And then by default, the filter type should be simple filter, and the folder should be inbox. Leave those as is. Also leave the label field blank. But for the criteria, we're going to change this to only unread messages. This ensures that we aren't accidentally digging up old conversations from last year. Next, set mark email messages as read to yes. This is a great way to mark the task as done, so you know if an email is still unread in your inbox, the AI hasn't touched it. Then I'm going to change the limit to 1, and the reason for this is because when you're building and testing a new AI agent, you never want it processing emails in bulk. You want a controlled loop where it reads one email, processes it, and then stops. If we left this at 10, the automation might grab 10 different emails at once and try to fire them all off simultaneously, which makes testing a mess. So setting this to 1 ensures the agent handles your inbox one conversation at a time, keeping everything safe and organized. Then after we've tested it, after we've put it in production and tested it and run it, and it works, you can come back here and change the limit to a higher number if you want. All right, next, here is the secret sauce. Now, we don't want the AI replying to grandma or your bank statements. We need a filter. So to do that, flip the advanced settings switch on. And then since for this example, I want my agent to only reply to emails about collaborations, I want to add the word collaboration to the subject and has the words fields. This ensures that our agent is only reading and replying to emails about collaboration inquiries. Then I'll leave everything else as is and click the save button. And then the last thing it wants to know for this module is where to start. Now I'm going to start running from this moment on. So I'll leave from now on selected and click the save button. Okay, now that we have the watch for emails module set, it's time to connect it to our AI agent that we just built. So within the canvas, click the plus icon. And this adds a new module, and then search for run agent. And the one we want is called Run an Agent, so select that from the list. And then you'll be prompted to choose the agent you want to connect to, and there should only be one agent here since this is my first agent that I built in Make, but we'll want to select the email virtual assistant agent for this example. And next we need to pass the email data from Gmail into the agent. So first, locate the thread ID field, and this is crucial. It allows the AI to understand that an email is part of an ongoing conversation rather than a random isolated message. So click inside this box, and this opens the Gmail mapping panel. Then all you'll do is select the red thread ID bubble there, and this adds it to the thread ID field and ensures the AI maintains the context of the discussion. Now for the final piece of the puzzle, the message. And this is where we tell the AI what it's looking at. If we just dumped raw data in here, the AI might get confused. We need to present the email in a structured, readable format. So click Add Item under Messages. And then in the content box, we're going to build a prompt sandwich, combining manual text instructions with the dynamic data from Gmail. Now, if you're wondering exactly what to write here, I actually used AI to help me formulate this structure. If you ever get stuck on how to phrase or prompt for an agent, don't hesitate to ask ChatGPT or Gemini Pro or whatever LLM you're using for a template. It's super helpful. Okay, so here is the structure that we're going to use. First, I'll type some context. It's going to be, you received a new inquiry via email. Here are the details. And then I'll type sender. And then after that, we're going to map the red from email bubble. So you'll click / on your keyboard, and that opens up the search field, and you can find those specific bubbles. And since we're referring to the sender, we'll want to map this to the from email. Next, type subject, and then map the subject bubble. And then finally, message, and then map the full text body bubble. By labeling the data like this, the AI knows exactly which piece of text is the client's question and which is their contact info. Finally, I'll add a clear command at the end, analyze the incoming message, and use the send email tool to reply to the client with our rates and availability. This ensures the agent knows exactly what action to take after reading the email. Then once you have your message filled out and ready to go, click the Save button to save the module, and then click the Save button in the toolbar to save the scenario. And that's it. Our AI virtual assistant email agent is ready to go to work. So let's test it out. So here I've composed an email to the inbox that my agent is currently watching. And you'll notice that the subject has the word collaboration in it. So that should trigger our agent to get to work and send a reply with everything that we've outlined in the system prompt. So let me send this email. And then back at Make, remember that by default, all new scenarios are set to manual mode. This means the automation won't do anything until we tell it to. Now I'll show you how to automate this schedule in just a second, but for now, let's trigger it manually to watch it work. So click that purple Run Once button and watch the magic happen. First, the Gmail module spins and grabs the new email, and then it passes the data to the AI agent. And you can watch it processing, thinking, checking the rate card, etc. And then in a few moments, boom, we get 2 green check marks. That means the agent successfully decided to reply and triggered our send email tool. So let's check the inbox to confirm. And there it is. Let's click on it. And it worked. A completely personalized reply that acknowledges the specific project details, quotes the rates that we programmed, and asked the relevant follow-up questions. I didn't type a single word of that. My digital employee handled the entire negotiation for me. However, having to click the Run Once button every time you want to check your email defeats the purpose of automation. So let's turn this into a true digital employee that works while you sleep. So once again, at the toolbar at the bottom of the screen, if you see where it says every 15 minutes, click that and it opens the schedule settings, and then gives you some flexibility here. You could set this to run once a day on specific days of the week or at regular intervals. For an email assistant, I recommend checking every 60 minutes. This is frequent enough to be responsive to clients, but it also saves your operations budget so you aren't burning through credits checking an empty inbox every minute. Then once you've selected your interval, click Save. Then looks like we need to activate the scenario again, so click Activate, and then save the scenario again. And your AI agent is now officially locked in. It'll watch your inbox 24/7, filter out the noise, and handle your business inquiries automatically. All right, that's going to do it for this video. I hope it helped you reclaim some of your time. If you want to build this yourself, I've left the links to Make in the video description below. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. So that's going to do it for this video. If you found it helpful, I'd greatly appreciate it if you would like, comment, share, and subscribe to the Blog with Ben YouTube channel. Also, if you're looking to start a blog, check out these 2 videos on how to build, grow, and monetize a WordPress blog. They'll walk you through the entire process step by step. And as always, your support means a great deal to me and my family, and for that, I thank you. So with that being said, I'll see you in the next video, and thanks for watching.